let's start with the first most important and the most basic sequence, which is arithmetic progression, AP. So let's take the previous sequence to understand this concept. Let's say this sequence has been provided to us. So we will say that this is an APU. The reason being, the common difference between the consecutive terms is constant. That means the forthcoming term has been formed by adding a constant number to the previous term. For example, 5 has been added to 0 to get 5. And then 5 has been added to 5 to get 10. So this is if the common difference between the consecutive term turns out to be common, then we call this as arithmetic progression. Now there are a few notations that you need to remember. Since 0 is the first term, so we represent it by A. 5 is the common difference, so we represent it by D. The same thing has been mentioned here as well. And then we find out the nth term of an AP using this formula. If let's say we were to prove this formula in this sequence, we see that 15 is the fourth term of the sequence. So if we were to find the fourth term, A plus n minus 1 D, A we know it is 0 plus n. N is the fourth term, so 4, and D 5. And if we solve this, 15. That is exactly what is here in the sequence. An important formula that you need to remember. Now let's look at a few examples to understand this concept a bit more. If the 19th term of a non-zero AP is 0, then the 49th term is to 29th term is. First of all, what does a non-zero AP means? A non-zero AP means that there is certain common difference. What is a zero AP? Let's say if we were to talk about a zero AP, as zero AP would have all terms to be 0. Non-zero AP means there is certain common difference. That means there can be one of the terms to be 0. However, not all terms are 0. So if we were to visualize how this AP would have been looking like, so this is 0, which is the 19th term, and there would be 18 terms behind it, and these would be negative, of course, and there would be a infinite term since nothing has been mentioned, and these all would be positive terms of the AP. However, this is not necessary to solve the question. We can simply just use the formula. The 19th term is given to be 0, so we can use the formula n minus 1 D is equal to Tn. We can use this formula to solve this equation, so it would be A plus 18D is equals to 0. So we get A is equals to minus 18D. We do not know what is the value of A, neither do we know the value of D, and since the ratio has been asked, so we need to convert the second variable into single type of variable so that they get cancelled out while solving the ratio. So we have been asked the ratio of 49th term is to 29th term. So let's use the simple formula that we've just studied, A plus 48D, and this one would become A plus 28D. Now let us replace A by this minus 18D equation. We would get minus 18D plus 48D upon minus 18D plus 28D. Upon solving, we would get this to be 30D upon 10D. D and D gets cancelled, 0, 0 gets cancelled, we get the ratio to be 3. So this is our answer. An easy question. Now let's look at another example. Which term of the sequence minus 4 minus 8 is 404? So we need to find out what is the value of n here. Tn has been provided to us, which is minus 404. We know the first term of the AP is minus 4. We need to find out the common difference, which would be again difference between the two consecutive terms, minus 8 minus minus 4, which would be equal to minus 4 again. So again, using the same formula, A plus n minus 1D, Tn is minus 404, A is -4, N is an unknown variable, we need to find it, and D is -4 again. So this would become -400 equal to -4n plus 4. -4n is equal to -404. N is equal to 101. That means we found out the value of n. That means -404 is the 101st term of the sequence.